We have come in the book of Revelation to chapter 9, which is within the day of the Lord. You have the tribulation, you have the heavenly signs, and you have the day of the Lord. We're in chapter 9. Last time we looked at the first woe, or the 5th trumpet. Before I pick it up there, I want to just go back a little bit to explain a few other things. In the book of Daniel, chapter 11, beginning in verse 40, there is going to arise a great power north of Jerusalem, the resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire. It's going to be the 7th resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire. And it's called the King of the North. The King of the South is Egypt and other Arab nations that will join with her to form the King of the South. Daniel chapter 11 and verse 40. And at the time of the end shall the King of the South push at him. That is, push at the King of the North. And the King of the North shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and with many ships. And he shall enter also into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. There is going to be a war, my friends, between the resurrected Holy Roman Empire in Europe and the King of the South, Egypt, and allied Arab nations with her. Verse 41. And he, that's the King of the North, and he shall enter also into the glorious land, that's Palestine, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon, because there's certain prophecies regarding those people that are different, so they will escape out of his hand. And he shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over the precious things of Egypt, and Libyas and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. He's going to conquer this king of the south led by Egypt. But tidings out of the east and out of the north, the east and the north, that is Russia and the eastern world. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and to utterly to take away destroy many, and utterly to make away many. It's going to be a great battle, a great fight. Things are now happening in the world quickly and powerfully. He's going to be concerned now about the north and the east, the powers to the north and the east, Russia and China and all of that part of the world. He's going to be concerned. But he's going to plant the tabernacle of his palace between the seas, the Mediterranean and the Dead Sea, in the glorious holy mountain. When the Bible speaks in such language, it is indeed talking about Jerusalem, the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. When he does come to his end, there's going to be nobody around to help him out from his end. Chapter 12. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which stands for the children of my people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Jesus spoke about it in Matthew 24, a time of trouble such as never has been, and if it's not going to be shortened those days, no flesh will be left alive. Jeremiah speaks of it in Jeremiah 30. and he calls it Jacob's trouble, or Israel's trouble. Israel. Jacob had his name changed to Israel. It's going to be the time of Jacob's trouble, Israel's trouble. And Israel, my friends, is a lot more than just the Jews. The Jews consist of Jews, the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And there's a scattering of some other of the 10 tribes amongst them. You can find that out in 2nd Chronicles, where some left the house of Israel and came back into the house of Judah because they wanted to still worship the true God in Jerusalem. But it's going to be the time of the trouble of the 12 tribes of Israel, of Jacob, not just the Jews. And that is why the king of the north, the resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire, will eventually rule the Western world. Mark my words. Don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Europe, the resurrected Holy Roman Empire, is going to rule the Western world. And there's going to come a time then of great trouble, such as never was. That is the beginning of the last 42 months of this age, the book of Revelation, 42 months. That is the beginning of this 42-month period to come upon the earth before Jesus Christ returns. And so we pick it up, and we've gone through Revelation. We've gone through the opening of the scrolls and the 7th seal opened, leaving 3 trumpets to be blown, or 3 woes to come on the earth. We covered woe number 1, or the 5th trumpet, in the last video. And I said to you there that it is going to be Germany as the head of Europe, the leading nation in Europe, and a Holy Roman Empire, the Catholic Church as the Holy Roman Empire. The woman that will ride the beast will arise, and it will be in Europe, and she will indeed, before she does what she does here in Revelation 9, she will have conquered the Western world. Mark my words. Conquered the Western world. Yes, we will be conquered by what we would consider friends. And that's what it says in the book of Ezekiel also, that God says, you will be destroyed, O house of Israel, O house of Judah, by your friends, who you think are your friends. And they are the ones that's going to destroy you. And she will rule the Western world, and then she will do what we read last time in Revelation chapter 9. She'll bring upon this earth 5 months of torment, where people would wish they would die, but death will escape them. But it will be mighty, mighty terrible. And it will affect a part of the world that we're now going to read about in Revelation 9 and verse 13. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. So this is something to do with the Euphrates and east of Euphrates, the powers that are east, north and east of Euphrates. The one that we read in Daniel chapter 11, where the power of Europe is going to be concerned about what it hears from the north and the east. Say to the 6th angel that had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, a day, a month, a year, to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army, listen to this, the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. Notice it mentions horsemen here. The only people in prophecy to do with and put forth as horsemen, Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39. 38 is indeed the powers to the north, Russia, powers to the east, China, India, Pakistan, Yugoslavia, India. You've got powers to the east. Japan is to the east. Korea is to the east. Those powers are talked about as horsemen in Ezekiel chapter 38. And this is then the power to the north and east of the Euphrates, that great part of the eastern world, and Russia to the north. The number here of people being able to be put together as an army could not possibly just be Russia. Russia have only got about 160 million people all told. It is so mighty, it has to include China, maybe India, Pakistan, but certainly more than just Russia. So great is the army here. Verse 17. On this I saw that the horses in the vision, and them that sat upon them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire, smoke, and brimstone. A great, mighty power with space-age technology to wage war. Verse 18. By these three were the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the horsemen, which issued, or the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths, the brimstone and the fire that come out then of these war machines. For their power is in their mouth, well, in their head, in what they're going to say that they can do and will do. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto scorpions, serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. I guess they do. That's understating it. They do hurt. And the rest of the men, which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of their works, that they should not worship demons and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and wood, which neither can see, nor hear, nor walk. They still will not give up their false ideologies. Neither, verse 21, neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, sexual depravity, and immorality, nor of their thefts. This great power is going to be Russia and other nations to the east. After Europe, the resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire, after Europe conquers the king of the south and enters into Jerusalem, that is the beginning of the 42 months of Revelation. It is the beginning of the tribulation. The tribulation will take place. Killing of saints will take place. Israel and Judah will be indeed destroyed, taken captive. And you'll have the two powers on this earth, the European power, and you'll have the Eastern world power. And they will have finally come against each other, as we just read here in Revelation chapter 9, and there will indeed be millions and hundreds of millions that through all of this will be killed. And the day of the Lord will be great and mighty and powerful. The Lord will have to step in. He is stepping in. Things are going to be done so as this world will not be blown away, and that lives will still live, because God is now interfering in the affairs of this world to bring it to its senses, and Jesus Christ will return.